In this video, we'll be taking a look at basic Maya shading. Shading is the art of applying a material to your models for lighting and rendering. Without shading, you won't get a feeling of texture, you won't get that tactile quality out of your renders, nor would you be able to see your renders at all. Shading, also known as applying materials, also sometimes known as texturing, is at the heart of the rendering process because it gives you color, it gives you decals, it gives you surface detail for you to be able to tell that this is a black plastic rubber as opposed to a shiny white plastic. For example, this wagon has a few different shaders on it to give you the sense that this is a metal handlebar and that these are wood panels. At the heart of Maya's shading process is the hypershade window. This window is arguably the most impressive and most powerful window in Maya. As a matter of fact, if I were trapped on a deserted island and I could only have one Maya window with me, it would be the hypershade window. That is accessed through Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. I find it much better to assign a hotkey to the hypershade window as I use it quite a bit in my work. Hypershade window that you can see here has two sides, a left and a right side. The right hand side shows you the shaders or the materials that are currently in your scene as broken up into tabs. Hypershade not only shows you the materials that are in the scene, but also can show you the textures, the utility nodes, the lights, the rendering utilities, the cameras that are also in your scene. It's quite a versatile window, as you can see, quite a few nodes. We'll primarily be looking at the materials and texture nodes. On the left-hand side of the interface is the Create panel. Here you have access to creating all of the different rendering nodes accessible in Maya, and as you can see, there's quite a few of them. But luckily you can categorize them quite easily. If you only are interested in seeing the surface materials, you click on the surface. Or if you're only looking at the mental ray materials, you can congregate all of them by just clicking on that. Or if you prefer to see all of them, hold down Control to select more, and you can see all of them, multiple selections in the left-hand side. Now, a quick introduction to basic Maya materials will show you the different surface types that are available. In short, shading and lighting go hand in hand. Lighting is all about how light bounces or reflects off of an object to tell you or to show you what that material is made out of. How shiny is it? How textured is it? What sort of crevices, cracks, and bumpy, feely sort of things are on that material are all defined in your shading setup. When you create a shader, for example, let's bring up one of the panels we'll see here. I'll select the shader and I'll click this icon, which stands for Input and Output Connections. When I click that, I'll see the whole shading network, also known as a shading tree, in the work area, which is in the bottom part of the interface here. I can see this is my shading node, and this is a texture node that feeds into the shader itself. If I double click on any of these nodes, the attribute editor will pop up for that node. Here I've clicked on B panel stripe 1, which tells me that it is assigned to one of the B panels of the wagon. To know for sure what I'm looking at, I can use a marking menu. Right-clicking on the shader itself gives me the marking menu, and one of the options is Select Objects with Material. I'll release that and I'll see that that material is assigned specifically to that object. Similarly, if I go into the hypershade, I can clear my view by clicking the Clear Graph icon, and that clears the work area. It doesn't delete anything. I can, let's say, select an object in my work panel, and then click on this icon, which is Graph Materials, to see what material is on that object in the work area. Now let's clear that area and take a quick look at the different shaders that are available within Maya. So you can see the different types of the major materials: anisotropic, Blinn, Phong, and Lambert. Lambert is a simple shader that has simple color transparency attributes. Phong adds a few very important specular shading components, which gives that material a shiny and reflective quality to it when rendered properly. Same thing with a Blinn, except a Blinn shader has a more diffuse or more soft highlight or specular highlight and reflection than does the Phong. These are the most often used within the Maya shading world. Anisotropic is almost like a Phong shader, except the highlight shape itself is anisotropic, which basically means it's uneven. So you can see with a Phong, it evenly spreads in all directions, creating a circular or a round highlight, where anisotropic gives you more of a spread in one direction than the other. This is very useful for creating some metallic and some plastic type materials. The ones we'll be looking at for the wagon example that I have loaded here are basically just the Blinns, and you can see with the tooltip menus exactly what these shaders are. A little bit more about the Hypershade window. On the left hand side we have a tab called Bins, and in the bins is yet another way to organize the shaders that are actually in your scene. To create a bin, all you need to do is select the materials or the shaders that you prefer to have in one bin, and then click on the Create button. Name your bin. In this case, I'll call this Lambert bin. And now this bin shows only the selected shaders I have in it. When I click on the master bin, I see all of the shaders in the scene. When I click on my specific bin, I only see the shaders in that bin. If I right click on the bin, I'm able to add more shaders to it. For example, if I select this one Lambert, I can right click and add that selection to it. I can also empty the bin, delete the bin, or duplicate, or any of these functions that you see here. I'll be emptying and then deleting that bin. Now, that does not get rid of the shaders at all. It only gets rid of the bin. There's not a whole lot of shaders in this scene, so the use of bins is not terribly necessary. Now, navigation inside of the work area is much like any other viewport. You hold down Alt if using a PC, or Option if you have a Mac, and you use your middle mouse button to pan around up and down, left and right. If you hold down Alt or Option and use the right mouse button, you can zoom in and out. That, in a nutshell, is the Hypershade, which is at the heart of the Maya shading process. So in this video, we took a very quick look at the different material types that Maya shading offers, and we took a nice thorough look at the Hypershade window, navigation, creation options, and bins within that window. I think we're ready to start shading.